What an amazing tank! But how should you build Full Power Frieza's hidden potential? How's it, everybody? Celtic Link here. We're back for another Dokkan battle video. In today's video, we are taking a look at the Fizz Full Power Frieza's Super EZA and trying to figure out what might be his best hidden potential route. After all, he's kind of got a lot going on for him, a lot that makes him such an incredible and versatile unit for many of the teams that he slots on as an incredible tank. So, let's start by looking at what he's doing. So now that he's Super Easy 8, his super attack effect is raising his defense by 30% for 3 turns, which it was doing before, but you're going to understand why here in a minute. That's incredibly important now. So he has Key 3 and attack 150%. He has 300% attack and defense 150%. When performing a super attack, he reduces damage received by 50% starting from the 5th turn. From his entry turn, he has a damage reduction rate 10% with each turn passed, no more than 30%. He has defense 150% and reduces damage received by 30% as the first attacker in the turn. He also has an additional attack and defense 150% when performing a super attack as the second or third attacker in turn. He launches an additional super attack if HP is 50% or more when attacking, and if HP is 50% or less when attacking. He performs a critical hit when attacking superclass enemies and effective against all types when facing extreme class enemies. He also gets an additional Key 12 and attack 150% when there's a pure Saiyan's enemy. So that is a lot. Combine that with the 30% raise he's getting on defense per super attack, he becomes quite an incredible tank. Now, I know you look at his attack and you look 300%. That does seem like it's a lot, right? When you add up all of his attack modifiers, right? 150%, 300%, that's 450%. Plus if you're facing a pure Saiyans, I mean, another 150%, that's almost 700% attack right there, plus an additional if he's in the second or third, that's nearly 900% attack. Seems like a lot, but the reality is, because he's such an older unit and that modifier actually only brings him pretty much on par with other TURs released this year, right? What you'll see out of him typically is in a turn, right? Let's say you go additionals. You're in a turn, you're probably seeing 3 additionals out of this guy, each dealing around, anywhere between 13 to 17. I've seen at the highest 19 million. With each super attack, because he's not really building his attack. So knowing that he doesn't really build his attack, nor does he really build his defense outside of that initial 3 turns, what is there to build his defense? Because he kind of has everything, right? So he has critical hit if you're facing super class, and he has effective against all types when you're facing extreme class. So he doesn't need crit because of that right there. So the question is, well, do we go ads or dodge? Well, thanks to the Dokkan Wiki, we can take a look here. Our hidden potential skills. As a Fizz type, we can see that he's going to have an innate additional attack, right? Giving him an additional, an additional 20 nodes, which would gain an additional 40 up to 50% chance of dealing an additional attack as a Fizz type. However, I don't think this is one of the few instances where I don't believe that's the way to go, even though he is kind of a stacker and he already has critical hit. The extra supers you're going to getting are not going to benefit him at all, outside of dealing more damage, which can be helpful. But this raise for 30% for 3 turns, that's already taken care of by his passive. Typically, you're going to get, well, you're guaranteed 2 supers, and chances are you'll get the third as well. If not by the first appearance, then definitely by the second appearance. So he doesn't really need additionals either. So all that leaves is dodge. This is one of the few units I might actually recommend a full dodge build on their setup. I don't typically do that because typically the trade-off is not worth it. But for him, you don't really need anything else, right? As a Fizz type, he's going to gain an additional 15 nodes, which would push him up to possibly 25% if you include any special skill orbs you may have. Which, I mean, 25% chance to dodge, that's honestly not that terrible. That's a 1 in 4 chance to do something he didn't really need to do before, right? Because, again, combo attack isn't necessary. Critical hit is completely unneeded due to the fact that he has both effective against all types and critical hits depending on who you're facing. So all that really leaves left is the dodge route. And being as that he is nothing more than a tank, his attack stats, while impressive for what he is, don't really do much for the overall whole of the team that he's on. So to be completely honest, dodge is really the only option left, and I don't typically recommend that, nor do I typically like recommending that, but it is there. It is definitely probably his best option, as it's the only one that really benefits him. None of the others benefit him at all. They actually, I mean, more damage on additionals could be considered beneficial, but again, it's not really big on the grand scheme of things. So I would go full dodge and sub additionals just to help with that initial additional attack, just to get him built up a little further. But outside of that, it's not really needed. I would definitely not go any form of crit build with this guy though, right? Dodge and adds is the way to go. So guys, that is it for the video. If you like the video, make sure you hit that like button. And in the comments down below, let us know, how did you build your Frieza? Most of you guys have probably had more dupes in him than I do. I currently only have mine at 79%. I've recently pulled my few copies, but I know many of you may have pulled your first or second copy very recently and are considering the build. So let us know in the comments down below what you decided to build for your Fizz Super Easy Full Power Frieza. Otherwise, guys, as always, thanks for watching, and aloha.